To quote the greatest philosopher of our time, what the Sigma? If you understood that statement, you're probably under 25. But if you felt a shudder or a headache, you're probably a teacher.
Welcome to the internet's favourite punching bag, Brainrot. Oxford English Dictionary defines brainrot as the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, especially viewed as the result of overconsumption of material, now particularly online content, considered to be trivial or unchallenging. And yet, Oxford also named brainrot its word of the year for 2024 after usage spiked 230% in a single year. So here's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Is language collapsing or is it evolving?
Are we picking on the younger generation? Or is it just language doing what language always does?
And more importantly, what does this mean for the people responsible for teaching it? First, a history lesson, because brainrot is not new. The first recorded use of the term goes all the way back to 1854, when Henry David Thoreau, in Walden, worried that society was trending toward trivial thought. Every generation, without exception, has panicked about the generation after it. When the printing press arrived, scholars feared unpolished voices would erode eloquence. Socrates worried that writing itself would weaken human memory. Baby boomers rolled their eyes at millennial slang like lit and on fleek. And now millennials, the very rebels who invented slay, are alarmed at Gen Alpha's skibidi. Linguist Adam Alexic puts it plainly.
Language has always been a little bit like a virus. Words are transmitted from one host to another, reproducing and changing as they infect different people along social networks.
If we want to understand what Gen Zs call brainrot, we first have to understand the kind of environment they learn their language in. Because for the first time in history, language acquisition is no longer primarily through books, classrooms, or television. It is actually through algorithmically curated feeds. The average Gen Z youth now spends upwards of 7 hours a day consuming digital media, much of it short-formed, high-speed, and socially interactive. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Discord, and YouTube Shorts are not just entertainment platforms. They function as informal linguistic classrooms, shaping vocabulary, humour, tone, and communicative norms at scale. And this matters because language exposure shapes language production. A semantic study analysing Gen Z slang across social media platforms found that youth language is undergoing rapid cycles of transformation, including metaphorical extension, semantic narrowing, and pejoration. Whoa, big words. Take the word slay or cooked or flexing.
Language has always done this. The internet just gave it a nitro boost. Here's what the research keeps telling us and what we keep ignoring. Gen Z slang is not just funny words. It works like a social tool.
So, when you speak the slang, you signal that you're part of the community. And when you don't understand it, it can feel like you're outside the conversation. Here's where things get interesting. On one hand, Gen Z is incredibly creative with language. But at the same time, the digital spaces that encourage this creativity can also blur the line between casual and formal language. Because online communication is fast and informal, students sometimes carry that style into school settings, especially in essays, presentations, or academic writing.
Here's where we get real. Because this isn't just a linguistic story, it's an education story. A 2022 Education Week study found that students who feel understood by their teachers are 45% more likely to perform better academically. Now, and this is important, the answer is not for teachers to start saying Rizz in the middle of a grammar lesson, because that is cringe. So, if we're not asking teachers to learn TikTok, what are we actually asking them to do? The answer is code-switching pedagogy, active learning strategies that connect to students' cultural context rather than treating formal academic language as the only valid form, significantly enhances engagement. Code switching, the ability to shift between different registers, dialects, or language styles depending on context, is not a remedial skill, it's a sophisticated one. And teaching students to move fluidly between Brainrot language and boardroom language is frankly one of the most real-world applicable things that a language teacher can do. And research on EFL classrooms found that strategic code switching serves 5 key pedagogical functions. Here are 2 classroom activities that put this into practice.
So, the next time your student says you have Rizz, take it as a compliment and then ask them to write a 500-word essay on why. That would be very Sigma of you.